Good evening, I'm Sangeeta, Kandola. The mother of a terrorist killed by police after going on a stabbing rampage told the inquest into his death she knew instantly her son was responsible. The mother of Sadesh Aman recognised his clothes on a news alert about the attack in Streatham. Katie Barnfield reports.
Sadesh Aman was 20 years old when he stole a knife and stabbed 2 people on Streatham High Road before being shot dead by the police. Today, the inquest into his death heard from his mum, Halima Khan, who talked about her shock when she realised what he had done. The oldest of 6 brothers, Mrs Khan confirmed to the jury that Sadesh had been expelled from college in Brent for being violent towards other pupils. After his arrest for terror offences, she went to visit him in prison. On one occasion, the jury were told he was demanding towards her, telling her what to think and how to behave as a proper Muslim. She then talked about their final phone call on the morning of the attack. She said, "Sadesh said he loved me. He said, 'Bye-bye, I love you, mummy.' He has said this before. That was the last time I spoke to Sadesh." A few hours later, Mrs Khan said she heard that something had happened in Streatham. She was frightened and called Sadesh over and over again, but he didn't answer. She said she saw on the news that someone had been shot, and on the ground here, she recognised the jacket and shoes that she had given to him. Immediately, she said, she knew her son was dead. She said, "I was shocked. I kept crying. All my children were running to me and asking why I was crying." The inquiry lawyer asked her, was there any explanation for what he did and what motivated him? She said, "No, I didn't think he was going to do these things. I had no idea." Earlier, Mrs Khan's lawyer had accused the police of making the wrong call when they decided not to intervene after they watched Sadesh Aman buying the items he would use to make the fake suicide belt he was wearing during the attack. The officer leading the investigation, known only as HA6, disagreed, saying he believed the police showed bravery and professionalism, having stopped an attack that could have been far, far worse. Katie Barnfield, ITV News.
It has been 10 years since the London riots, where thousands were arrested over 5 days of violence and destruction. 5 people lost their lives and many businesses were destroyed. It was the worst civil unrest the UK had seen for a generation. Chloe Keedy reports on the aftermath a decade on.
The images of Tottenham 10 years ago today are still shocking. The skyline thick with smoke as buildings and buses burned. Bonfires were lit in the streets, which had become a battleground. Today, the atmosphere on Tottenham High Road couldn't have been much more different, as people came together to commemorate the riots, but also to promote a message of peace.
I remember trying to stop some of the destruction happening, but I could not do anything at that time.
Reverend Nims Abonge remembers that Saturday night clearly. It was 2 days after 29-year-old Mark Duggan had been shot dead by police.
What was traumatic was seeing how a peaceful protest became so violent just in a moment of hours. And that was simply because when the family had asked for a senior officer, unfortunately that officer didn't come. Young people got upset.
Tottenham's MP says that many of the promises that were made after the riots weren't kept.
If you think about what was said about youth services, what was said about youth unemployment, young people not in education, training or skills, clearly there are strains, there are pressures, there are still issues with stop and search. All of those remain underlying issues here in the community.
Of course, more needs to be done. I mean, it's work in progress. A lot has been done. I mean, we've been able to network with ourselves within the community. So that talking and listening has been going on very well. And that's what you need. You have to start from somewhere.
The riots started on these streets, but they weren't contained in Tottenham for long. As news of what was happening here spread quickly across London, so did the violence. North, south, east and west, more shops were looted, more property destroyed.
The ceiling was gone, the floors were destroyed,
Duncan Mundell had to close his shop in Clapham for 2 years. He later saw a video of the person responsible.
And he literally just took a product, took a lighter out of his pocket, lit it and stood there watching as it all started to burn, and then slowly strolled out. The police never caught him. No arrests were ever made.
The same night in Croydon, a family furniture shop was burnt to the ground.
Over there is where the main door was.
Reeves has now been resurrected across the road from the original site, but its owner says it has been harder for the community to move on.
We did our bit with the community afterwards. I did a lot of talks about the history of the family, about community relations. We've done our bit, and now the people that have got the power should have taken it up. But unfortunately, it's 10 years on and we're still talking about the same stuff.
Chloe Keedy reporting there. A man has died after a double stabbing in Stratford. Police were called to Henniker Road in the early hours of this morning, where they found 2 men with injuries. A 23-year-old died at the scene. A 19-year-old man is in hospital. His condition is not thought to be life-threatening. Finally, Rhys Porter is a goalkeeper for his local side, the Feltham Bees, a disability sports club. But after the 13-year-old posted a video on social media, he was sent thousands of abusive messages. He responded by setting himself a challenge. Sally Williams has more.
Not all teenagers emerge from their bedroom with a smile, but Rhys is about to play his favourite sport.
Let's go for it, mate.
He requires a bit of help from his dad to set up, as Rhys, who's 13, has cerebral palsy. So he plays football on his knees in goal. Oh! He's taking on his dad today. When the camera's not rolling, Rhys, does he try and get them in the top corners and things like that?
Yes, definitely.
But he also plays for the Feltham Bees, a club for people with disabilities. When he recently made this save, he proudly posted it on TikTok, but the reaction from many was shocking.
I got like tens of thousands of views and lots of like hate comments with like, and I just tried to ignore it at first, but it got like too much.
How did it make you feel to read some of those comments?
It made me feel very sad, but I tried to get used to it because it's kind of a normal thing for me.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you want to say to the people that put abuse online like that on TikTok?
I just think, what's the point? It's just me playing football. No matter how I play football, it's still playing football.
Oh, nice one. Despite the hurt, Rhys has a great resilience and has decided to turn this into something positive. Ready? Going to go for a bit higher?
All right.
Well, not that I really can, but... Hey, man! He'll be doing 20 saves a day during the Paralympics, thankfully none from me, as part of the charity Scope's Make It Count campaign. Oh. With this challenge, Rhys wants to raise awareness about inclusion.
We are the same as anyone else. No matter how we're looked at in society, we still are the same.
That goal that you did put up on TikTok, Rhys, it was a great save, wasn't it? Were you pretty proud of that?
Yeah.
That's why it went up there.
Yeah, it was one of my proudest moments of myself.
And you got some lovely comments as well, didn't you?
Yeah, from Brentford and Art and all.
So hopefully they'll stay in your memory longer than the bad ones.
Yep, they definitely will. Oh, you still miss.
Rhys has already raised more than £2,000 and an awareness that is, of course, worth infinitely more. Sally Williams, ITV News, Uxbridge.
Weather time now. Here's James Wright with the forecast.
Great Western Railway sponsors the ITV London weekend weather.
Hello there, good evening. The weekend upon us and not looking particularly settled. Expect lots of showers as we continue with a rather unsettled spell of weather, and that's being driven by the jet stream. It's sinking to the south of us. It's allowing a low to just stick around with us over the next few days, driving lots of showers across the capital. As far as overnight goes, well, actually, we've got a bit of a dry spell, at least for now. Towards the end of the night, we start to see a few more showers drifting up from the south, one or two sharp ones mixed in. But it's not going to be a cold night, 13 to 15 Celsius, your low. Through tomorrow then, sunny spells from the word go, not long before the showers really get going once again. You can see these bright colours mixed in, a sign that some of these showers will be quite heavy. The good news is it looks as though there's enough of a breeze to help push them through. So if you do catch a heavy one, it shouldn't last too long. Don't be surprised if you hear a rumble of thunder through the afternoon too, and temperatures were actually slightly down on yesterday, but actually the wind's slightly down too, so should feel pretty much the same as today. The low pressure continues for the next few days, driving lots of showers across southern parts of the UK, but hopefully a degree up on Saturday's temperatures.
Great Western Railway sponsors the ITV London weekend weather.
That is it. We're back tomorrow afternoon at 4:20. Until then, do have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.